Hi guys, this is my weekly list. So I've covered plug and fuel cell quite a bit. I look at VAXART in space, Tonics Pharmaceuticals, Cosmos Energy, 22nd Century. I think New Gold still has potential going for it. On OTC, I check out BSSP. Now with Cantech Holdings with BSSP, they're a company that if they get a good merger, they could do good things. Now with blue down here on the bottom, they're a shell, so hopefully by this Friday we'll kind of see what they can do on the OTC, if they still have potential or what their moves are going to be. One thing I've been watching with plug and fuel cell is that their volumes are staying pretty neck and neck as far as how they go about their trading throughout the day. Their numbers are coincidentally pretty close. With the volume yesterday, BSSP, they definitely upped theirs on the OTC, and they caught my eye. They started moving quite a bit. We'll see how they do for the rest of the week. Another one was Novation Holdings. They had a pretty high volume going, along with Tiger Oil. Some underrated stocks that I think are definitely with Astro. They were moving pretty low before, but they're on that EV helicopter market. So by 2025, depending on where things go in the world, you might see them make a move into that EV stage with flight, with WTII, like the water tech. I look at things like the Grand Canyon, our water sources going down. They have stuff that hooks in with generators, so they have a lot of stuff going for them, and they're starting to sell in stores. And if they get into big oil, they have some major potential and upside on them, and they're a low float play. I thought this was interesting. If you have time, check it out on Americans for Tax Fairness. It was an interesting little article I checked out. When you look at these numbers, I would expect with Cantech Holdings, they can probably, if they're pink limited, if they go pink current, you're going to see them rise up from the 0015, and they could definitely go towards that 0030 to 0050. So once they become pink current, you might see them shift up a little bit more. I think that's why their volume was going up, was because they became pink limited. I think NEE, NextEra Energy, they're an interesting stock. They're a holding company, renewable resources, sun, solar. You start looking at things that they're doing, and they've kind of stayed around this like $85 mark I've watched for a while now. VAXART Holdings, they're another one that they've had their ups and downs, but they definitely have some upside potential to get a 3 times play back to where they were within the last year. IBIO is another one that I think on a long run play could be 4 times to 50 times what its value is. So when I look at NextEra Energy, this is where they've stayed not peaking too far above like $86, $87. but they've stayed around like an $80 mark, and they've been holding in a stretch now for a while, where they've had their ups and downs, and time goes by pretty fast. So when you go through a couple quarters, now that they've gone through, and after coming out of 2020, they went up, kind of showed some potential where they were. I think going into 2022, 2023, this stock can easily go over $100. This kind of shows the last month where they started to amp back up. And I put this on here for the 5-year, so you can kind of see where they went through like 2020, 2021. They're going through, every company is restructuring, but they definitely have a nice growth pattern going where they're just heading upwards. Now I think with them, they're definitely one that, if they stay in the renewable market and they get some help from the packages that are coming out from the government, that can influx a lot of things in them. One nice thing with them is with NEE, they have a dividend, so they do have that coming up. So if you invest now, you'll be looking at dividends in the future, and those will only rise as the stock rises. And with them, year to date, they still have probably a play of like they could jump up another 100%, or they could stay probably about where they are. They might go down a little bit, but I wouldn't worry about them too much. I think in the long run, they're definitely going to hold and go over 100. And on this chart, this kind of just shows you where they were, that, once they break that resistance level up there and go above 90, I kind of see them taking off again for a minute. Back in April, they're around 80, so like I said, anytime right now under 85, I think is a good time to buy in. This shows them going back, and this is one of my stocks that I go back to when I was born, and I look at things. So if you go back to like 84, where they were, they've definitely taken, and they've been on a gradual climb, and they continue to climb each year. I don't see any reason why they would all of a sudden just go the other way. And if they continue to climb, you could look at the next 20 years that they definitely could be a couple $100 stock that's out there. And into the future, the more demand there is for power, the more these companies are going to have growth in them. With IBIO, it's one where back here at July 31st, 2020, they kind of showed their upside again. And when you look at them, they're definitely one that I think that could be a 4 times play from where they are going into 2022. By 2023 to 2025, you could see them possibly be a $10 stock plus. And I think that they have a lot of room to run. They could just, they play it pretty safe right now, and investing around $1.25 to $1.50. I think you have a safe play on them. They don't have dividends yet, but it's one of those stocks where that stock price gets up there, you could see them possibly offer dividends in the future. And that's with pharmaceuticals. And another pharmaceutical play would be VAXART. And they've showed their potential pretty high. So I think that if they hit another spurt where they can run again, you could possibly see this one run up to $35, maybe a little higher. They might be able to hold for quite a while. They're trying to get back to where they were. If they do, their last dividend was paid out in 2012. So there's no dividends paid out right now. They're up 45% on the year. You could see them fluctuate down a little bit, back down to that $7-8 range. But I think in the long run, you're going to see this stock be $20, $30, $40 and just continue to climb each year. So the more vaccine rollouts that come out and the more research their company is doing, and if they teamed up with more people, you could definitely see a huge climb in their innovation process. And this takes you back to 2012 where they're at around $124. So I think the shooting for that in the future for 2025, you could see them easily if they can get to an average of 25 a year over the next 5 years. You could see them definitely increase back to where they were. This gives you a little information on them. So once they get stuff out of clinical and they get stuff approved, you could definitely see that spike come. This takes you back to 2004 with VAXART. This is another one of my companies where I go back to 1984 and look. So looking at this company, you could see where they went through and they had some major potential. And I think a lot of these companies too, they were ahead of their time in some of the stuff they were doing, where then time catches up and now we have so many things going on in the global pandemic that no one just wants to put stuff right out there. You want to make sure you're putting something out there that that's gonna be safe and everything's done correctly. So I think this company is one that does things correctly, and I think when you look at things that instead of maybe a shot, maybe something that's coming out in a pill form, or they're definitely a company that has potential to create and bring about a whole nother range of stuff to the market. IBIO, this takes you back to 2011, shows you that this could be a 50 times play going into the future. It might take them 5-10 years, but it could happen in a year. Things happen sometimes overnight. Some of these stocks I've seen rise tremendously, and you never know, and everything is a gamble. Everything's risky when you're investing in stocks. So make sure you do your research and your due diligence. Go through and check and cross-check, and if you have a financial advisor, check with them. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a blue-collar worker trying to pay information forward, help people out, put some more information about stocks out there. With Rev Technologies, they're one that hopefully when they get to 2022, if they continue on the road they're on, you might see them get back to maybe like a quarter to 50 cents, and that would be nice to see them come back that way. They've had a high of $2, but if they build up and they say they took a merger with a biopharmaceutical company, you might see them definitely increase in the future. I think a lot of companies are teaming up with EVs, so I think that market's kind of getting swamped. Another market would be like the mining market for the EVs, for the silver and the alloys that they need to be able to go into creating batteries and everything that they're doing. That you could see them team up with a couple companies where in the future they could have some major upside potential to them. I would expect by 2022 they'd be at 003. This is showing Water Technologies, and I think that they have a lot of potential going for them. They definitely have showed where they can be at. Once they get some sales out and they get some of that revenue back in, I would expect this to go back to where they were in April of 2021. So I would say by April of 2022, I would expect them to incline back to that 0.43. This shows one of the reports where, with the global atmospheric water generator, they're being able to capture the water on and put it back into the system instead of that water just running off. So with water, water's a big thing with oxygen. The oxygen market definitely, the more action we had to create during all this pandemic, also create a water shortage. So there's many links to all this stuff and why the importance of these market trees are. And at the end, this came in through my email. I haven't opened it up and checked it out yet. But Nightscope, if you have time, check out Nightscope. I think with a policing unit and stuff going into the future, that they definitely have potential with some of the stuff that they offer. So once again, remember that stocks are risky, so make sure you do your research, make sure you go through and definitely check out some of these companies and do yourself a favor. And if you don't, at least watch the market, learn the products. It's not always about investing, but it's about seeing when you're watching the stocks, you're able to see what products are out there that maybe you don't have in your area where you live. And maybe it gives you a business side where maybe you want to create a business, but you want to bring one of those products to your area because your area doesn't have that to offer. So it definitely, for the entrepreneurs, watching stocks just gives you an outlook as far as business potential and businesses to create in the future. So I hope everybody has a good day. Thanks for watching.